would occur, I would like to ascertain who would want to be involved in management, in the small board of directors that really evaluates where money should be spent. I can say this is a concept I have. I personally do not have the time to dedicate to this particular project. I can commit to putting it into Life Extension Magazine. I can commit Life Extension Foundation seed money to help start it out. If we needed to raise $5 million, I think the Life Extension Foundation could put in $500,000, and hopefully we could raise some of that initial seed money from others. I hope that could occur, because it would be nice to have $5 million sitting in the bank, so when we go and do an IPO, they understand we're serious. We're putting our own money in here first, and that's why we're suggesting that they consider putting their money in with the primary objective of discovering something that will enable them to live a lot longer. And then that other advantage of maybe gaining access to it before the FDA approves it, and the long-term benefit is it might turn a nice profit.
I like that idea, and Bill, management is the one thing we wanted to talk about today too, just to manage each individual company, not separate management teams, but have an oversight management team or committee or expert to make sure that wherever we put this money is going to be invested responsibly. Another comment, most of us don't have time to do this, and that's a key, is finding somebody for our own management team, because management is everything, as you know. I'd like to make another comment about the easiest way to make money as far as regulations are concerned are donations. Easiest way. Now, how can we be creative and attract a lot of donations and large donations? And one way may be to form this IPO, a public entity. We'll check with legal to make sure this will fly, but give them a premium which is donated. Maybe this is just thinking out loud. And maybe the foundation, nonprofit, would get a block of stock in this company and give options to people who invest or who donate. Now, they would have to declare the value of those options. And if we had it valued early enough at a low enough price, they're in there for the future big hit. They subtract the value from their donation, and their net donation is what they write off. I don't know if that will fly.
Better to keep it church and state. I've seen a lot of groups successfully have two companies, one of which is a company that's a for-profit, and it's engaged in whatever its business model is. I've seen this across multiple industries. And then the other thing is a separately formed, even though it may have a lot of the same shareholders, nonprofit that subscribes to all the nonprofit rules and is simply going and getting visibility out and donations in. And quite frankly, any money that came in through the donation one would not be funneled through the incubator. It could still make grants to some of those companies, and it would not get any kind of stock for it. It would simply make grants and would be able to have a separate advisory board to decide, is this what is doing the cause instead of what's going to be profitable for the company. So two different things. The one thing I could say, and I've been involved in this, and this is a great way when you're talking about bringing celebrities in, I think initially bringing them in just because you find they're passionate and, combining all the models, right? You sort of get them involved, have a cocktail party in LA and New York, that's where they all live, and start having them meet some of the scientists, get inspired by some of the science. Then you get them to tweet different things to be able to get them. And then, their cash is their appearance value, right? And I've been involved with a number of fundraisers that have involved celebrities, mainly concerts. I was involved with Live Earth and with Live 8. And more recently, with a brand new charity, that's the David Lynch Foundation. And upon their launch, they did a concert at Radio City Music Hall, and in a very short period of time raised $6 million. Now, they got Paul McCartney to sing, and Sheryl Crow and other people who were involved in the cause, which was teaching meditation to at-risk youth. But that's a much lower sort of, cause over the long haul than anti-aging. And so I think that it could be a while, but I think those things could be put together. And if you had that being the primary fundraising for the nonprofit, it'd have to be purely a nonprofit. And you could go down both paths at the same time and have different things. But that's the way to really kick off that. I mean, people go to concerts and write checks to hey, I'm giving $1,000 to this thing and I feel good about that. And oh, by the way, I got to meet, one of my heroes backstage.
What if people invested in the IPO that Bill is suggesting? And what if they donated to Max Life, and they get their tax write-off. And what if Max Life then gave grants to the companies that the IPO is funding? Would there be any conflict of interest there from the investor standpoint?
I'm not sophisticated enough to answer that, and my guess is that any attorney that you get will also hedge on a direct answer. I think the concern is that if people are going to make a donation and get the full benefit of that donation, there can be no direct benefit to them. And if an outsider, after you developed your technology, offered you $100,000 for the treatment, and you turned it down, and then someone who you gave an option to, the value would be at least $100,000. So I think it's a dangerous way to go. The other comment I wanted to make was just a qualification of one of the things we talked about at lunch. I think it's very important if you have a public company that although there may be long-term goals, there's no reason there can't be short-term successes. They don't have to be huge successes, but they'll make headlines. They can be small incremental improvements, products that are sold, intellectual property that is licensed. I think that way you meet some of the immediate goals, and you have also the benefit of the longer term benefit. And when various technologies are evaluated for funding, one of the criteria you choose them for is their likelihood of some immediate benefit, even if it isn't the largest benefit in the long term.